Well, hello and welcome to this edition of the EV Revolution Show. My name is Kenneth Bokor, your host, and today I'm excited to have General Motors Chevrolet Silverado EV, the RST. This is the top spec version. And if you hear a little wind noise, I'm trying to cut it down as much as possible. It just started blowing in this morning and it's like minus 10 right now. I'm cold, but I'm going to get through this so I can get you the information on this vehicle. Again, I want to thank General Motors, as I always do, thank the OEMs for the use of this press vehicle for the last several days. It's been a phenomenal vehicle, folks. You folks who follow me know that I'm not versed in the pickup truck landscape. I've done a couple of reviews on the F-150. I think it's an incredible pickup truck from the leader in pickup trucks in the North American market space, probably in the world, is Ford. But this Silverado just takes it up a notch, and I'll tell you why, especially and more so on the electrification side that I believe. And I'll state right now at the top of the show, folks, I feel that this is one of the best all-electric vehicles that I've ever tested, ever had a chance to review. And I've tested dozens and dozens of vehicles. And and I'll tell you why and how excited I am about this vehicle for GM later on down the show. But first, let me get into some of the usual specs and stats and comments about the vehicle. The Chevrolet Silverado EV is a modern looking and very modern electric pickup truck. And as you can see with the exterior, it is pretty striking. I've had a few people come up to me going in for a coffee or something, and guys saying, "Hey, I saw you drive up. That's a really nice looking truck. I love the looks of that. What is it?" We start talking. So it really has a front end design that's much more modern. And it is designed to reduce drag and turbulence and continue with that whole design language of offering a spacious and usable interior as well. As you can see, the lines are pickup for sure. One thing that's striking is the wheels. These have 24-inch wheels on this RST version, so they stand out quite nicely. I mentioned that front end, so you have LED projector headlights. You have this LED bar across the front of it as well with a lighted Chevrolet bow tie emblem. And it looks really nice at night. It presents itself. There's a welcoming segment. You got LED turn signals built in. Nice lights. It really lights up the road quite well. I had no problems driving around at night. Again, good clean lines, straight across, easy to grip door handles and open. It's just a very functional piece of equipment and vehicle, as pickup trucks should be. And Chevrolet doesn't miss a beat in providing a lot of functionality here with different nooks and crannies for steps and things like that. Now, having the running boards are very handy because it's a tall truck to get up into. And then, of course, distinguishing the EV is the Silverado badging with the bluish letters. Again, here you can see the size of the tires and what they run on here. So there's some little accents as far as distinguishing that this is an electric vehicle if you don't see and don't notice that there aren't any tailpipes on here. That's your first indication. But again, they've done very nice. They kind of got a bit of an avalanche of look and feel here going on the back end, but very functional, again, with that glass I'm going to talk about in the Midgate design. And for towing capacities, the truck will pull up to 12,500 pounds, depending on the setup, and carry payloads of 1,800 to 2,000 pounds, because I've seen a couple different numbers, but that seems to be a decent range for payload. Now, underpinning the electrification platform for this pickup is the Ultium Platform, and of course, GM uses it for multiple vehicles within their brand lineups, including the Silverado. It's a very good platform. They developed Ultium several years ago into this modular design using various cells, LG Chem being one of them, for the storage of the electricity there. And there's different configurations that you can do, be it single stack, double stack, different kinds of sizes, so that this platform works across many different vehicle types. And the Silverado uses it in 3 configurations for a battery pack size. The standard range is 119 kilowatt hours. The extended range is 170 kilowatt hour battery pack, and the max range is 205 kilowatt hours, both in the RST and in a work truck version as well. These batteries are based on an 800 volt architecture, which delivers power on the WT version of 510 horsepower, 615 pound-feet of torque, again through dual motors. On the RST, it's 754 horsepower or 785 pound-feet of torque, which is lots of torque for towing. Now, the range is outstanding in this pickup truck. As you can see, we range from 632 kilometers all the way up to 724 kilometers, depending on the variant of the truck that you get. Charging is another positive for this vehicle. It does support an 800 volt architecture, as I said at the beginning, which means it supports charging speeds up to 350 kilowatts of DC fast charging. Even for level 1 and level 2, it supports up to 19.2 kilowatts on a supported 80 amp circuit charger, which in GM speak, for fast charging in 10 minutes, you'll get 160 kilometers if you're pushing 350 kilowatts. So that's really fast, and you'll see in my charging exercise coming up what I actually saw just from a quick test. All right, if we take a quick tour of the interior, you can see that these are made at the Factory Zero plant in Michigan. This is, again, the RST, so it's a very high quality interior, nice soft touches, easy controls, and lots of controls everywhere. It's got very nice, comfortable seats. I mentioned in my driving that I would like, for me, I'd like this power seat to go a little higher, but that's just my particular physique. But everything's nicely appointed, a nice wrapped steering wheel with the Super Cruise information on it and displays. Lots of buttons for different functions, including brake controller for trailering. That package is installed here. As you can see, we have the standard GM infotainment display system. I do always love physical HVAC buttons, and this has it as well. So you have separate HVAC buttons and controls, and you can also do it on the soft touch. The center console is very, very big, lots of storage room. You've got this nice sliding tray here that you can go in and out with for cup holders and storage to manipulate and put stuff in different parts of that compartment, including some USB plugs for connectivity and your iPhone and your phone charging mat underneath that. Got some controls for a hazard button and OnStar and stuff in your mirror, and then a nice panoramic roof glass, which really makes this a really nice place to be. If we go into the rear here, we'll see very similar color patterns, lots of storage, big door pockets. This is a Bose stereo system, which is nice. It does a really good job of that. Flat floor again, because this is an EV. It's all on battery, so there is no hump there, and that just adds to the amount of leg room and comfort that you can have in the rear seat. There's that panoramic roof, very nice, lights and light and still blocks UV. Got our temperature controls, fan controls for the rear, including outboard heated rear seats for the rear passengers as well, a center armrest and so forth. A very comfortable interior again, a nice ride, a really great place to be for long trips and lots of room. If we have a look up front at the Frunk, or what GM calls their e-trunk, it is powered by either the key fob or button inside, so it opens up. You can see it has 10.7 cubic feet of storage, or 303 liters. Has a power outlet as well, which utilizes the onboard power, which provides 10.2 kilowatts of total onboard power. So a really nice feature. I love to see these big Frunks for work environments, for doing all kinds of stuff. There's a power plug again, so you can put some tools in there and run them and do some work from the Frunk, from the front of the vehicle, and utilize that space quite effectively. A nice low lip again to put stuff in there, which is nice for storage and hauling stuff. So again, I love the functionality that these give owners for the use case that this pickup truck provides. So going around to look at the rear, it's got two sections to the lift gate, to the tailgate in this. There's a small portion, as you can see, that opens up. If you're just putting, let's say, some thin pieces of wood or something small that you want, you can just slide through there without having to open the entire tailgate. And then that closes up, and then utilizing another button, then that will let you open up the entire tailgate, as you can see here. That opens up, so it's a little dark, but I will go in to lighten it up. This is a 5'11" bed, offering 55 cubic feet, or 1,560 liters of storage space, again with a bunch of power buttons there for drawing for the onboard power plugs. So very useful space for storing. This happens to be spray lined. There's different options, but again, a good size and lots of room. One thing I wanted to show, which is unique to this vehicle, is a lot of storage, and that's typical with pickup trucks. But one thing that GM has come out with, and if you watch my interview with Nicole a couple of years ago when they announced the Silverado EV and the RST and something they called the Midgate design. So I'm going to actually show you what that is, and I'll run some B-roll as well intermixed with this. So first of all, you can see that there's a good level of storage underneath the excuse me, the rear seats here. So you could put odds and ends, tools, whatever, that kind of stuff that you needed to. And the seats do fold, so they're a 60-40 configuration here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how the Midgate works, and I'm doing this with one hand, so it might be a little awkward, but you basically pull this, you pull the back seat up first, okay? So it pulls up, and again, you can see your some of your storage cavity here on the floor for some storage. Then you pull this lever here, and at the same time, supposed to pull the seat. And let me see if I can, I don't think I can do that with one hand unless I get a little crafty here, just to get enough to pull it down. No. Okay, so I'm going to have to do another way here. Sorry for all the jiggling, folks. I'm going to pull it with the camera hand and then let it go. All right, so I pulled that handle and then pulled it at the same time the back seat, and as you can see, it starts folding forward. Now, normally you would take the headrests off to fold this flat. I'm not going to, just for the lack of time. But as you can see, you can pull those headrests out and they would fold flat. It might just clear this, but I don't want to rip fabric and muck around with it, so I'm just going to leave it like that. But the concept is that this will fold flat onto the floor with this with the back seat up like this. So you have something, if you're storing it, you have a hard surface here to kind of go against rather than the seat material itself. So then you've got this back part here, and it's split in a 60-40 configuration. Now, here's the secret to the Midgate, is really this metal piece. So it's a cutout that opens up into the bed, into the outside basically, and it's all rubber sealed and four-season sealed so that you don't get water or snow or cold or any air and that stuff in there. So it's a nice sealed unit. And what happens is you push the button down here to unlock it. You hear that unlock noise, and then you just grab it and you pull down. And now I have access through this, and just again, visualize that this is all going to be level, right? Everything's going to level down, so you get a nice flat floor, and you'll be able to put materials, stuff, and get access to the back of the bed. If I can't go in here with my camera, but that's what you can see. And again, you can do that with the other side to create this half opening here. GM says that once these are down and you put the tailgate down, and there's a bar that flips up on the tailgate to hold something from shifting backwards, from this point here to that bar is 11 feet. So you can, in essence, get an 11-foot contained load here. Now, and you have lots of places to tether. You'll see indications for tethering and that kind of stuff all throughout the bed. So you would obviously strap stuff down so it wouldn't be loose. Now, the second part to this magic is the glass. So yes, folks, this glass pops out. Think of it kind of like, I'm not going to take it out because I'm only one guy today, but think of it as like a T-bar roofer setup where it pops out of the vehicle. It's got these locks here that clamp it down, and you unclamp it and you pull this out. And this also stores, so you can put that glass under here and keep it from getting broken as you load this thing up. So think about kayaks, think about canoes, think about items like that, you know, maybe a little more bulky items that are longer, you know, cabinets or something that you're moving around. So it really just opens up the usability for this truck a lot more, which is a huge factor. Never mind all the accessories and third-party things that you can do with this truck, add-ons, you know, that are sky's the limit when you're talking about a frame-on-body unit that this is. So it's really, really cool, this Midgate design. I have not seen that before. And a much more relevant space, especially up here in the colder countries where we get snow and rain and all that crap. And you want to be able to put stuff in here. Now, in this setup here, leaving the glass. Now, this tonneau cover that came with the vehicle, I'm not convinced on how waterproof it is, to be honest with you, because it's a Velcro kind of system. I don't know if there's a guide there that flows into, but you can get a tonneau systems that are retractable, that are sealing from the elements. So the point of this, folks, is that you can put materials in here and open this in the winter without anything getting snow or water in there, as long as your tonneau cover is a sealed type of system. So I think that that's extremely creative and extremely useful. And even in this setup, you can still have a third passenger as well, or you can reverse it and have two passengers and open that up if you had like maybe a pile of 2x10s or something like that you wanted to throw in there and still have people in here. So this is an extremely versatile setup, and I just wanted to talk about this Midgate because it really is one of the key differentiators that this truck brings to the marketplace today versus the competition. Right here at a Tesla supercharger, going to try out this supercharger adapter. Again, they're pretty straightforward. One end will go into the supercharger end, obviously, the other one into the vehicle end. I believe the order is you plug this into the vehicle first and then you plug the supercharger in, but I'm going to try it and see what happens. Of course, you have to have the Tesla app. To initiate this, you have to set up your account on the Tesla app with your credit card information because it needs all that billing information before you plug in, before you try it. Then you go to the station, you find it on the Tesla app in their map, and you pick your stall, you tell it what stall, and off you go. So let me try this and plug it in, and I'll see what the order is, and I'll come back and tell you what it's going to be pulling right now. I'm at about 32% state of charge, right now. So I don't expect really fast speeds. I'm probably anticipating anywhere from 75 to 95-ish kilowatts, but let's see what happens. All right, so started charging this vehicle. Let me close the door here. And you can see, I'm actually pulling 172 kilowatts. That's much more than I thought I would charge, to be honest with you. That's amazing. Let's see if I can get anything else on the screen here showing me anything else. Yeah, so this is what the screen will show you. So again, GM is big on telling you how many kilometers or how many miles per hour you're going to get for charging. This is saying that in 1 hour I'll get 570 kilometers. Be done, it's more than an hour. It'll be done by 2 o'clock if I went to full charge, but I'm not going to. It's at 35% now, state of charge. 100%, it would show me 708 kilometers. If I went to 100, I wouldn't, of course. And in fact, I think I can downshift that here to 80. So let's put 80 in, right, which is the normal. So now it would say, okay, charging will be slower above 80, of course. So now it's saying 572 kilometers when I get to 80 and in 35 minutes. So that's kind of more of the norm. Mind you, I started at 32% state of charge. So I'm going to go to 80. It's going to take about 35 minutes. So if you were down to 20%, again, probably about 45 minutes. And that's because, folks, this is a big battery pack. You got to remember, you get a lot of range on this. So it's going to take longer than your 20 to 30 minute stops, but it's well worth it because of the range that this offers. And I'm just amazed at that charging speed. I'm up at 36% and I'm still pulling 166 kilowatts with that adapter. That is amazing. I really, to be honest, folks, did not expect anything over 100 on this thing at this state of charge. So I am just totally blown away by that. I'm very surprised at that. And of course, I'm not going to let it charge up to 80 because I need to go somewhere. This is really just a test of that. So what I did, folks, as far as the adapter goes, is I plugged the Tesla cable into the adapter first. There's a little lock underneath you have to lift so you can plug the Tesla cable into it. And then I plugged the CCS portion into the vehicle and then used the app to say start charging. And within about 10 seconds, it started charging. It was extremely fast. Right, so I've done the charge. After about 10 minutes, it was still pulling about 135 kilowatts. So that's really good. That this adapter is able to handle that kind of load. So this again is the Electron CCS1 to supercharger adapter, or supercharger to CCS1, however you want to say that. Really nice, clean solution. I'll just give you a quick driving impressions, my thoughts about driving the Silverado EV. It's been a fantastic vehicle to drive all week. I put about 400 kilometers on this and I still have over 200 kilometers of range. That's real world driving in cold temperatures, minus 0 degrees Celsius and into some plus 4 or 5s as well. We've had a bit of a swing here and we've had some snow. So I've been driving it through some snow as well, which has been fun. And this thing just goes great. The ride quality is very nice with the air suspension, and even with the 24 big inch tires that this thing has, it really has a nice comfortable ride. I have it set to the Tourer ride, so I want it the most comfortable that I can get in this, and it delivers. The steering is responsive, visibility is great, especially with these big side mirrors and the blind spot monitor, so you can see, because that's important in the big truck. You want to be able to see around you. So everything just works good. I love all the controls. Everything's easy to find. They're physical controls for your most common stuff like wipers and HVAC, digital for things like lights and others. And there's also a combination of physical and digital for things like radio and stuff. a very comfortable driving experience. I would like the seat a little bit higher if I could get it. This is the highest it goes. I just like to sit high in vehicles, folks, so I can kind of see over, but I got accustomed to this. It's not too low for me, but I personally would like a little higher. But I'm not that tall, so maybe that's why. But it's very comfortable, and the seat warmers and everything work really, really well. One thing that GM has done very well, and I've said this on other reviews, is their implementation of the one pedal. I have the one pedal set on, and it's set to normal use. There's a normal and strong. The normal is a perfect blend. They've really executed quite well on this. You can bring nice smooth stops. You don't have the jerky starts as well, so I can keep everything smooth in this vehicle, and the one pedal grabs on a hill. It will hold you. There's no buttons to turn on and hold. It just works, and it's not it just blends really in with the driving experience. So for people that I think get into this vehicle, get into the way GM has implemented the one pedal and try it, they will see that it's really, really easy, because a lot of people are turned off with one pedal because they're concerned about, you know, the back and forth element that it can bring. It really is a nice smooth. They've done a great job on normal. I wouldn't put it into the strong setting. I think it's fine in the normal. So that's one thing I wanted to highlight, is their implementation of one pedal is really good. You can turn it off, or you can have it on normal or strong. Those are the three settings. So I just wanted to highlight these things. It's been a very comfortable, capable vehicle to drive around. I'll talk more about the range coming up as well, but that's kind of the biggest selling point for this, being able to do what you need to do and still get some good range out of it. I love the infotainment. They made it really easy. Again, and they've made this easy for people to come into the EV environment and just get in and go with no buttons to push. You just get in, touch the brake pedal, car turns on, and the vehicle turns on, and off you go. So really, really easy. Same shifter and same controls that we've seen in all the other GM products. Same implementations with some funky colors and stuff. Really nice storage and consoles. I won't get into everything because you guys know pickup trucks have lots of room. But this has just been a fantastic vehicle to drive around all week. Absolutely love it. And again, they've I think, just enhanced the overall pickup truck vehicle experience with the electrified version.
Wanted to quickly mention the rear wheel steering called Sidewinder. This feature, I believe it's a 9-degree turn for the rear wheels, and it offers tighter turning circles and much more maneuverability within traffic, even in higher speed traffic as well. It's implemented extremely well, offers a turning circle of 42.1 feet or 12.8 meters. Just means that this is easier to maneuver around parking lots, as you can see, and turning into parking spaces, and just gives it a much easier feel, being that it is a full-size pickup truck. So a good job.
So I hope you like what you see on this Silverado EV, because it's a very competent truck. Now obviously competency and all these features and functions do come at a price point. And when you look at the base MSRP on the RST version, this is the top spec trim, is $117,990. With some freight PDI, you're at around the $120,000, $121,000 Canadian range. Yes, that's a lot of money. But when you compare this to the likes of the Cybertruck, the Rivian R1T, the Ford F-150 Platinum spec, I mean, you know, they're higher spec vehicles. This is a very competitively priced. And again, this is the top spec trim with the biggest battery and all the toys in it, as you've seen. They start at around the $75,000 mark for the work truck, the base work truck version, with more of the standard range of battery pack, standard size and standard range system. So this is very, very competitive in the pickup truck landscape, price point wise. That's one thing that I found out in starting to do these shows, and when I got into looking at the pickups, I was totally oblivious to the price points of those. But you know, when I talk to people who buy pickup trucks for work or for pleasure, you know, the average price points in that 85 to 95K range, you know, so that's what people are paying for these things on average, right? You can go higher, you can go a little bit lower as well. So this seems to be quite comfortably priced and very well priced, and I was actually quite surprised because I expected this trim to actually be more money. If you've looked at pricing lately, folks, Tesla has raised the Cybertruck considerably here in Canada, where it's much more than this vehicle now. And in my opinion, I think you get a lot more for this vehicle, with this vehicle, right? With all the features you see, the air ride, the height lowering the rear turn, all the features that the Cybertruck has, because that's really what, who GM is partially going after, and of course the Ford F-150 marketplace, and then the soon-to-be Dodge Ramcharger marketplace. Their systems are going to be a little bit different to start, though. I think, they have all the features. They check all the buttons here. And, it's a love-hate relationship with the Cybertruck, right? You either love the designs or you hate it. And I've talked to people that go, swing both ways on that. And it's not the most attractive. And this has far more functionality, in my opinion, with the Midgate feature and with the ability to do a lot of add-ons like cabs and all, racks, pipe racks, and all this kind of stuff that you can do, probably more than what you can do on the Cybertruck. And that's one of the things I commented on several years ago when they announced the Cybertruck and did the reveal as being a unibody. Prohibits or limits the amount of customization and things that you can do to that truck versus the traditional frame-on-body approach allows for a myriad of use cases out there, as we all know from history. So I think they've done a good job, price point, putting this in a competitive marketplace and providing the features that it provides.
Just quickly want to talk about range because I'm highlighting that as exceptional in this vehicle. As you can see, in my total trip, I did 402 kilometers from 704 that it was showing, leaving 214 left. So that's 618, so losing about 25%, which is normal for these cold temperatures. So even on, again, cold temperatures, just doing daily back and forth city traffic, doing some highway traffic, still able to get over 600 kilometers of real use range. Now that's without towing and stuff, as I mentioned, but that's exceptional. I just wanted to highlight that. I'm going to talk a little bit more about it as well. And if we look strictly at the cost of supercharging, this is just an example. As you can see, I did just over 10 minutes and it cost me $20 to get about 100 and change kilometers back. So if I'm on a road trip and I'm down to 20%, which is going to give me 150 or so kilometers, and I'm looking to get back to 500 kilometers, I'm probably looking at about 30 to 40 minutes. So that's, let's say, $60 to $80. To get that mileage, to get about 400 and let's say 400 to 500 kilometers back in driving. You do the math and you see how that compares to yours. Simply put, DC third-party fast charging can cost as much as gas. It can be at par, but typically it's about half the price of fuel, even for DC fast charging. But it depends, again, price points, time of use, how busy they are. Each provider has their own pricing scheme, so there is no set national standard. So you just have to be cognizant of that. But run the numbers, look at this as an example, and you can extrapolate your own information to figure out, if you do a lot of road tripping and going to rely on DC fast charging, how this is going to compare cost-wise. But I think it'll still be cheaper than gas, if not very close to gas.
So in closing, folks, I think my excitement is coming through on this video, or at least I hope it is, even though it's very cold this morning. So I'm trying to get through it. But as I've said throughout this video, highlighting the features and benefits and what the capabilities of this truck is, I think that they have just hit a grand slam here, General Motors. It's on the now tried and true Ultium Platform, which is their bread and butter product, and it's across multiple vehicles, including other GM, GMC, the Hummers, the Cadillacs, and so forth. So the platform is solid. Their OS is not buggy anymore. It's solid. I had no issues at all during my week of driving this. Anything to do with infotainment and OS related issues. The functionality works great. The one pedal driving is excellent implementation, one of the best. That's how good I think they've done here on their one pedal driving implementation. And just with the feature sets that you get at that price point, I think it's just a phenomenal truck. And the reason again, I've said this throughout this episode, and I started with saying that this is probably, in my feeling, one of the best EVs that I've ever tested, is because of that range. Again, for getting 700 kilometers in these temperatures of full charge range. Now, you're not going to get that driving at -10 temperatures, right? But even the last 4 days, and the temperatures have been from +4 to -5 in that range. It's been getting colder throughout the week. I could realistically get over 600 kilometers of driving range in a mix of city and some highway driving. That is phenomenal. And the reason that I think that this is one of the best EVs is not only because of that range. It would be like, for my use case, I would charge it once a week. And that would cost me about $20 to charge it at home. And off I go for another 500, 600, 700, 500, 600 kilometers. It's incredible, the operating costs on this vehicle are so low from that perspective. That's with 24-inch wheels. You could opt to a work truck version with the extended pack, with the large pack, and get 19 or 20-inch wheels and probably get even a little better efficiency, as you've seen in the numbers. So where GM, and why this is important, the long range, because it's a nice to have. Now it takes away, range anxiety. It takes away those arguments to a degree. But specifically, the problem that we've seen with the pickup trucks is the ability to tow some decently heavy loads, like 5,000, 6,000 pounds, 4,000 to 6,000 pounds is being the average that people comment about, and being able to get some realistic, decent range out of that tow, out of being able to tow that kind of weight. And this truck, in my opinion, and I haven't tested it, so I'm sure there are videos out there that test it, but one of the issues with the F-150 being that it has about 480 to 500 kilometers range max, is when you slap 4,000 or 5,000 or 6,000 pounds on it, that range is cut in half, 40 to 50% range drop for towing. And that's natural. That's going to happen to this too. If you put that kind of weight, you put 10,000 pounds, you're going to lose 50% of your range. But when you have such a big battery to start with in 700 plus kilometers, and this is cold temperatures in the summer, you're going to get 740, 750s probably to start on this, and you lose 40 to 50%, you're talking about 350 to 450 of usable kilometers in towing that kind of weight, in my opinion. And that changes the game. Now, instead of guys saying, I need to pull 4,000 pounds of equipment, I'm landscaping or whatever, but I got to go more than 200 kilometers in the winter on that. This will give you almost double that type of capacity. So it changes the game for the awareness and for the usability of this truck in those applications, right? For you and me that might want a truck just for fun and maybe pulling a small trailer or bikes, or just having the convenience of a pickup truck for whatever reasons, you live in the country, rough roads, whatever. Towing 6,000 pounds across Canada, that's something that we're not going to do, or around the GTA consistently. But for those people that want to take their work environment and electrify it, one of the stumbling blocks has been the towing versus the range loss element, and the usable range that you can get when you're towing what you need to tow, or payloading this, what you need to payload. And GM with the big battery pack and the realistic range, right? The efficiency on this truck is, I think I looked at it, was like 35 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. So it's not the most efficient, right? Efficient is like 14, 12, 15, for a truck, 20, 22, 24. This is 35 overall, over 8,000 kilometers. But it's the accurate prediction of the range that GM has really done well on this as well. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and that's really why I think this is a strongly recommended vehicle for anybody looking at an EV pickup truck that is concerned about the range. I absolutely love the F-150, folks. You guys know that. I think it's a great truck. This is even better, in my opinion, specifically because of the way GM has optimized it by putting giving you the availability of larger battery packs. And then, of course, that Midgate feature is another really kind of showpiece that changes the game for people that need that functionality. So obviously, it's a double thumb recommendation on here, and I want to thank GM for allowing me the use of this vehicle. It's been a pleasure. It's been a blast to drive. I'm actually very sad to return this, and I'm not a pickup truck guy. I got to go back and pick up my Model Y today, so I'm going to be returning this. But I just wanted to share those points. If you know people that are thinking about, that need a pickup truck, that are scared about EVs, that hear all these horror stories where they can't tow, can't go more than an hour and a half, and then I got to stop for an hour. And this is going to take a while to charge, right? It's a big battery, so it's still going to take a while to go from 10 to 80, right? Probably an hour, right? Depending on the charger. But because of the 800-volt architecture, it offers fast charging speeds. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling because this is going to be a longer episode than I probably thought it was going to be. But I think it's important for you to realize the significance of this truck and what GM has really done in the electrification market space. Let's hope that politics don't mess things up, folks. Regardless of what's going on where you live politically wise, if you're interested in an EV, please take a serious look. There's a lot of value that they bring. So again, thanks very much for watching. All my contact information as usual is here. Email works the best if you have questions. Leave your comments. I always try to answer everything. And until the next show, everybody stay safe and I will see you when I see you. Take care and bye-bye.